Okay. Whew. Oh, there are. Hi, sis. Welcome to Free
Hi.
Flame Thought. Yeah.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you so much for
I
doing this.
don't have to introduce you to me. Yeah. Claudette, first of all, let me thank you in advance for taking time out of your schedule to share this moment and journey with me. Girl, I have to show appreciation.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate you for allowing me the opportunity. So thanks right back to you.
That's
It's a
all good.
boomerang thing.
That's amazing. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to jump straight in the talk. I'm going to take a moment to allow your spirit to just settle because it's been a bit unsettling for you to get on this live. So just tell me a bit about how you are today. Let's start with that. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. I had a great workout. I got to play with my
Oh,
nephew and talk with my sister. So
that's
yeah,
nice.
my day is going great. Great. How's your
Excellent.
night
So
going?
my day, I kind of decided just to lock into spirit today. And I went for a walk in the fields and I just spoke about how I was feeling and I was preparing myself for today. So I'm in a really lovely space. I really am.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
listen, those who don't know, this is Claudette Griffith. She is the author of the book entitled Tough Love. And today, Claudette is going to share her story, her journey, and her aspirations, and what inspired her to write this book. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start with, tell me who Claudette is. Who's Claudette?
Girl. Okay, so Claudette is a free spirit. She is a very transparent, raw, um, in your face, loving, determined woman. There's so many things to who I am. I can't list them all, but at the core of my being, I want to be remembered, if not for anything else, as honest. You know,
Yeah, I love that.
and
So you're a
loving.
transparent soul.
Yeah, yeah. I don't got time for lying. I don't have a good memory, so no, I'm good.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay. So, all right. So I like that. All right. So Claudette, invite me into your world of tough love.
Okay.
Can we start at the core from where did it all begin for you? Just take me all the way back. I'm present and I'm here with you and I want you to just invite me into that journey and I'm buckled in. Let's do this. So take me to the core. Like, where did it all begin?
Okay, so it started, I want to say 3, maybe 4 years ago. It might have been a little bit more than that because let's start with this. I have a very dear friend, Leon Walker, who we talk about everything and no secrets. We don't have to candy coat things.
Is that, let me just
And
give you a shout out. That's Leon Walker on the live. And you know what?
yes,
I love his
I am
spirit
trying.
too. He's
Yes, and
lovely. He's
yes.
lovely. So go ahead.
Yes. So he basically over the years we would talk about stuff and he'd be like, "Well, you should talk about this or you should write about this." Now, what really got it started was when he started writing his book. We were having different conversations about relationships and life and the traumas that both of us have endured and things that happen within the world and everything. And we were talking and he's like, "You know what? You should write a book about this, Claudette, because women and people in general need to hear this story. People need to know that they're not alone in whatever it is that they're going through." And specifically in the African American culture, because we, at least in my experience, have had this stigma put on us where we can't talk about certain things. We don't talk about that, or what goes on in this house stays in this house. And I
Mm.
grew up in a household like that where there wasn't a caveat for if you feel threatened or if you feel unsafe. There was no caveat. It was what goes on in this house stays in this house. Don't tell nobody my business. That was it. So what happened was after him prodding, not only is he my friend, but he's my mentor. So
Oh, that's
the talks,
nice.
yeah, the talks, the prodding, eventually what I did was I decided to do something with the recurring thoughts that I have been having my entire life. I've had various recurring thoughts, nightmares, so on and so forth. And what I did was I just started writing them down. I would write them on the back of receipts, on napkins, on little scraps of paper. And I wrote them all down, no chronological order whatsoever. And then the process was write them down, shove them away. And then it was take them out and put them in some type of order. And then I put them away. And then it was type them on a computer. with no order whatsoever. And lo and behold, before I knew it, I had wrote a little book, and the thought stopped. When I finished writing my books, I haven't had a nightmare about anything traumatic in my life that's in my book in the past, I want to say 2 years or so. When I wrote the book, they stopped. So that let me know that apparently that was a reason. There was a reason why I was having those thoughts. I needed to do something with it. So I wrote the book, and there you have it. Tough love.
Okay, so we're gonna go. We started from the back, but we're gonna now go just like a movie when you start from the back and get back to the beginning. Yeah. So let's talk about the journey, the narrative that prompted the emotions of the trauma in the first place. Can we talk about where it first began?
Sure. It's a little sketchy. I blotted a lot of it out. I stuffed it down when I was little, so I struggle with precise timelines, but the best that I can come up with.
That's okay.
I had I'm a fatherless child. My father left when I was around 8 or so, because I remember my grandmother died when I was 8. And then shortly thereafter, I didn't see my father anymore. So I don't know what that's about. I heard a story that he raped one of my cousins. I don't know if that's true or not, but that would explain why he left, whatever. So after that happened, one of my adult cousins was living with us, and he molested me, and he also instructed my brother to molest me. So that was the first incident that I can remember. After that,
Go back a bit.
Okay.
Can you repeat that line? Repeat that to me, please.
About my molestation? My adult cousin that was living with us, he molested me, and then he instructed my brother to do it, to molest me.
Okay. And you were what age at this time?
I don't know, maybe 8, 9. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after he had his turn, his sister, her best friend, molested me, because we used to spend the weekends or whatever at their house. So his sister's best friend, she molested me. And then, I don't know. It was either in between that time, but my mom had a boyfriend, and he molested me after that. Yeah, so they I don't know if they sat down and had a conversation about who was going next, but they all got a turn.
Can I ask you, before we go forward, was you aware at that time, even from the first incident, that something wasn't right, that this didn't feel right?
Yes, I was very aware. I was very aware that was wrong, because I begged all of them to stop, but it don't matter what I want, because anyway.
And were you able to speak to anyone, or did you confide in anyone when it was happening?
No. So that's something that I wanted to cover that I unfortunately left out of my book. The same adult male cousin that lived with us would beat me and my brother and my sister. He would make us take our pants down and stand up against the dresser, and he'd beat us. And then he'd tell us we better not say anything or it's going to happen again. So there was fear in us, but we still told my mom, but she didn't do anything about it. And he continued.
Was he beating you after the molestation, or was it just another separate incident he would do?
Oh, it was separate. They weren't, it wasn't a bonus deal. It wasn't like a value meal or anything. It was the ass whooping and then the molestation. They were 2 separate incidents.
And was there ever a motive for why he would hit you guys? Was it just the control, just to inflict the cold?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just an unstable young man trying to figure out who he was supposed to be in the world. And I guess that's the way that he thought he was going to go about doing it. But after I wrote my book, I thought about like why I didn't talk to my mom about it. And sitting here now, I honestly don't feel that I felt safe to tell her that, because when we went to tell her that he was whooping us, she didn't do anything about it. So quite naturally, I'm thinking back to the little girl that I couldn't have possibly felt comfortable talking to her about that. I don't remember how I felt at that time, but my rationalization of it right now is that because she didn't protect me when he beat my ass, I wasn't going to talk to her about this, because she wasn't going to do anything about that either. So I might as well shut up, because nothing's going to, you know what I'm saying? Nothing's going to happen. So
you didn't protect, you didn't feel the trust was there. So you harbored this within yourself? Did you ever talk to any of your friends at school or to anyone?
No, I told no one.
And
I didn't tell
how
my
did
mother.
that manifest within you as a very young child? How did that transition inside of you?
I just stuffed it down. I didn't talk about it because I didn't have anybody to talk about it about. You know, I felt disgusting. There was no, I didn't feel comfortable with anybody to talk about it.
Hmm.
Nobody. It's just, who's gonna believe me? You know, if your mama don't believe that your family member is beating you unnecessarily, and she continues to let this person who's violating you in one way stay in the house, why would you go to her about something else? What's the point? I
Yeah,
just, you know what I mean?
yeah, I
I
think.
wish that I could remember how I felt then, but knowing who I am right now, I can say that that's probably how I felt, that she wouldn't protect me. I love my mother, but it's kind of, I guess it's a sick and twisted way of loving someone. I didn't feel that she would comfort me or do anything about it then. So I didn't
Can
say
I?
anything.
It's a very reflective point you make, because when I think of the elders, even within my own family and stuff, I've realized that it's a bit like saying when you know something is painful and traumatizing, you don't want to inflict that on the next generation. You know that something's not right. But what
Yeah.
I've realized, even in my own family upbringing, mother, father, aunties, I've realized one thing. There is such a strong denial that it's almost like if they were to identify that their child or, you know, someone close to them is being hurt in that same way, it would break them. This is what I've realized, and it sounds really selfish, like, how could you, I'm telling you this and this is happening, but you're not reacting. But I realize this level of, oh, you know, everyone's fine now, put it under the carpet, is not them being intentionally cruel. I mean, the sane ones, you know,
Hmm.
parents out there. But I've realized it's almost like their survival mechanism is, if I don't hear it or deal with it, it didn't happen, and I can go on, and everyone, you're fed, you're dressed, you're fine. So I
Yeah.
think, I don't know your mother, but I'm trying to think, could it be along the lines of, you know, it's not so bad, depending on what she's gone through, and
Yes.
she can't
Yes.
fathom the
Yes.
reality. She cannot fathom what to do with that.
Yeah. I can totally understand that. Me and my sisters were talking about the different styles of parenting in our family, as far as my grandmother being born. My mother was born in 1944. Life was different for her back then, and her upbringing was different from her mother's, and my
Yeah.
upbringing was different from my mother's. Some
Mm-hmm.
things are passed down, but there are
Gener-
some things that remain
gener-
the same.
generational curses, things like that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes. I totally understand. I never held anything against her, and when I finally did tell her, what sparked it was when I had my daughter, and
Uh,
this cousin who had molested me happened to be at our house, and he picked my daughter up, and when I turned around and saw my daughter in his arms,
whew.
I lost it. I was ready
Yeah,
to catch
yeah.
every case that the cops could put on me. I was ready to catch every last one of them.
Hmm.
And it
Hmm.
bubbled up. All of that I had stuffed down had bubbled up, because now it's on me, and you're not gonna do it to my baby. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? The buck really literally stops here. I was not having it. So
Hmm.
my mom and I and we went and have a conversation about it, and I forgave him. He apologized and professed to how miserable he was, and told me how his life was a mess and he should have never done that. And I genuinely believed him, and I haven't had an ill thought about him since then,
All
because
right.
I genuinely felt like he meant it. So
Okay, so just a moment, and just for those viewers, thank you for being here with us. I haven't ignored your messages. I'm going to go into it a little bit later and see what all the messages, comments you guys have been leaving. Okay, so when you saw your uncle
cousin,
holding your daughter, your cousin, sorry, holding your daughter, in that moment, naturally you approached him. So your mother knew what happened to you before that day.
no, I had never said anything
So
to her.
that was the breaking point. So
Yes.
how did you tell her in that moment? Let me know. How did you tell her? Like, what happened?
When I turned around and I saw him, I said, put my fucking daughter down now.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned around and he said, "What's wrong with you?" And I repeated what I said. And I said, "I know you understand me." And he put her down. And my mother said, "What's going on?" I said, "We need to have a conversation right now." And she said, "Come in here." And she called us in the room. She sent the children away, and we had a conversation. And I told her right then what happened, everything. And my brother, unfortunately, wasn't there at the time, but I did make sure that she knew I had no reason to lie about what happened. And if she wanted to call him or whatever, she could do whatever she needed to do to verify my story. And she said, "I don't have to verify anything. You told me what happened. I just wish that I had known sooner." I don't know if she would have done anything. I don't know if there are lines to betrayal and trauma that she was like, okay, this is what's not going to happen in my family.
So let's go there. When you realized that she actually acknowledged you, and whether or not she could protect you or do anything about it at the time, the fact that she acknowledged you, she didn't disbelieve you. How did that feel in that moment for you?
It felt like I was being hurt, like she saw me. And she let's
go. This flow with me. This flow with me. Right now, listen, there's only me and you here. Come on, flow. That's it. It's all right. It's all right. Let it out.
I'm not worried. It's like she heard me. Like she heard her baby talking to her. And she was determined that she was going to do what she could to make the pain stop. And then after we had that conversation, I was caught up in the moment. So I just told her about her ex-boyfriend too. And I was like, well, while we at it, this motherfucker did it too. And
so tell me, how did Mama take you telling her about the plan B person now? Like, whoa, like, what was that like for her?
She was, I had to physically stop her from making phone calls. She used to be a bartender, and she knew some people who knew some people who knew some people, because sometimes all of our food didn't come from the grocery store. It fell off a truck. So she was ready to make some phone calls, and I told her, please don't do that. I was in the military at the time, and I told her that this is not the way to deal with this. It's not. I didn't, and it wasn't, I felt like it wasn't her place. I said, Mama, this happened to me. I don't want this to happen. When people do wrong to other people, they are the ones who have to live with it. Karma may move slowly, but she don't forget nobody address. So I wasn't worried about what was gonna, you know what I'm saying? I felt that what they sent into the universe was going to eventually come back to them in some way, shape, or form. Your child might be molested, or your wife might have gotten raped. I don't know what the situation was, how karma works, but I didn't feel like it was my place or her place to intervene. So I begged her to let it go.
Did you know, it was interesting. I'll just say this along the lines. As mature as you were, you know, you was obviously a mother by that time, so you was a mature woman. In that moment.
No, I wasn't. You
wasn't?
No, okay. I was 19, and I was not mature at all.
But in that moment, you were still her baby in that moment. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And she was going to cut some ass in that moment.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm glad that she acknowledged, because, you know, I tell you, and I'm just going to resonate with you just for a moment, no matter what the story is, I always say to people, you never have to agree with me, but can you at least acknowledge?
Yes. Don't dismiss me.
That acknowledgement can actually heal so many wounds.
Yes.
So many wounds and so much anguish and anxiety that can build from these kind of traumas.
Yeah. I totally understand that. Totally understand that.
Is your mother the kind of mom that's able to be emotionally reflective? Can she show her emotion? Did she share a moment with you, whether it's tears, a hug, or anything?
She's gone now, but before.
It's okay, girl. Let me see it, girl. This is all about soul connectivity. So let's get into it.
When I was growing up, she wasn't a very emotional mom. But when I grew up and I stopped being a little shit, we became friends. And she was so loving. I always felt loved by her. But when I grew up and I started to see the world and take responsibility as a grown woman, we became friends, and our relationship grew so close.
I love that. I love that you say the word friends, though. I don't think a lot of us can say. No,
My
I
mama
love
was
that.
one of my best friends.
You know what I love about you? Let's take a moment. All right, let's take a moment. You know what I love about you already? I love that you are crazy humorous. Okay. I thought it was only me because I have a bit of like with my humor. Okay. I come out with
You
so
got
much
me now.
So in one breath, we crying right now, but you're
Yeah,
making me laugh, and I don't know what to do. Okay, like
good.
come on.
That's good.
You're so neat, and it's almost like you're sharing a narrative, but you still got that humorous part that is there naturally, and that's survival as well. And I love it.
Yeah. If it works,
The universe has not taken that away from you. You still got your
no,
humor along, yeah, and
no.
I love that.
The universe will never take two things from me. My love of humanity, my
Yeah.
love of music, and my love of laughter, and my love of dance. I might not do it that great,
Oh,
but I'll be damned if anybody gonna stop me.
oh, I love that. So
Yeah.
let's reconnect to that. So you became friends. I love that. That's really sitting with me because I'm thinking to myself how you can be connected to somebody and have a relationship, mother, daughter, sibling, whatever. But are you friends in that?
Yeah. My mother was one of my best friends. We didn't pull any
Wow.
punches. We pulled no punches
Did
whatsoever.
you did you feel a sense of peace when she left this planet? Did you have
Yes,
peace at that point with her?
yes. I had a tremendous, I still do have a tremendous sense of loss because she was such a force in my life. She was a grounding strap for me in my life.
Mm.
But I'm at peace because I have faith in the life that she lived, that she tried to do the very best that she could as not only a human being, but as a mother, as a sister, as an aunt, as a grandmother, as a cousin. Every hat that my mother wore, I have faith that she wore it with the most pride
Mm.
ever. So
Mm.
I have peace in that. And I also have peace that I did right by her words, not mine.
Right.
She let me know that I was doing right by her. It's
Mm.
one thing to say things about yourself. I'm the best this, or I'm the best that, or I do this the best. But to have someone else give you that praise, I'm good. So when she went
Mm.
to be with our ancestors, I was at peace with that. It sucks because I miss her every freaking day.
Mm.
However, there will come a time in my belief that we will be together again. And until I'm there with her in whatever shape, form, or fashion we will be in, I still have her spirit within me. I have her blood running through my body. And she's given me some nuances over the years. So I have a little bit of her. Her friends call me Little Sheila. That was her name. So I think I come by it honestly. And I'm proud of that. I really am.
Oh. Okay, so all right, so you and mom became friends before she passed away. Before she passed away, did you get to confront anyone else who was a part of the molestation? Is there anyone else of, because you mentioned your cousin, you mentioned your female cousin. Yeah?
I I've never, the only person that I've ever confronted was my adult male cousin. My brother and I never talked about it. And my female cousin, her best friend, I haven't seen her since I was a child. And I don't give a fuck to see her now. Really don't.
Yeah. No, I hear that. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read some comments. I'm going to give you a moment to catch a breath. Yeah, just
Thank
stay
you.
with me. Just stay with me. Let's read some
I'm gonna,
comments together.
I'm gonna go grab me a cocktail. I'll be right back.
You do that. I'm going to put on my 10 eyes and read what's going on, okay?
Okay.
Get your cocktail, girl. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Free Flame Thoughts. We're just talking to Claudette Griffith, and we're talking about her journey and what inspired her to write the book, Tough Love. So let's read some comments. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. Or is this? Okay, don't do this. Okay, let me see. Miss Stephanie West, you say needed to address that trauma. Way to go. Okay, I'm glad you're talking about it. And you got Leon here just corresponding with Stephanie. And Lily, are you saying I'm good at this? Is that true? Thank you if you're relating to me. Okay. Okay, he says, not laughing at it, but what we said. Yeah. Yeah. And you're getting mad. I know, I know, I know. Okay, so we're just gonna wait for Claudette to come back, and it's all good. You know, we do things individual. When I talk to people, there's no set rules, and I love the fact that she's just like, I'm gonna go get my cocktail, see you in a minute. I love it. Right here, I've got my tea and I've got my water. Hey,
Girl, them locks in my face was driving me nuts.
hey, girl, long time no see, girl. Welcome back. Hey.
Hey guys.
Let me try and get these comments out my eyes. Why can't I get rid of them? Here we go. All right, okay. So we've spoken about the beginning and the individuals that were involved.
Yes.
We've spoken about the part your mum didn't play at first, and then the rebonding, and then you notifying her about what happened, and then you guys becoming friends before she passed on, and that's left you in a good place of at least peace on that note.
Yes.
So tell me, after, tell me, go into whatever area of your childhood that you want to share with me, because I'm not here to dictate to you. I'm just here to be your co-pilot, okay? Yeah?
Okay.
So go into the next phase that you want, and I'll vibe with you.
Okay, so in order to understand who I am now, I got to take you back a little bit. So,
okay.
Long story elaborated, I grew up in a neighborhood where the girls were either too easy, never around, or they didn't want to for me, period. Okay. So my mother would not allow me to hang with the girls that were too easy. So therefore, majority of my friends were boys, right? Mm-hmm. All the neighborhood boys. Now, with that being said, they weren't necessarily having the chick hanging around. So I had to prove myself. I had to be famous. I had to be strong. I had to be able to come quick with them quips while they ragging on each other. I had to get in there, and I couldn't be too like soft skinned. I had to toughen up a little bit. One of
the boys, yeah?
Yeah. So that is the gist of my childhood. Now that carried over into the military because I had such a strong personality, and my masculine energy is on a level that is above most women that I meet. I have a lot more masculine energy. I don't got a problem with you, baby. Keep doing what you do.
It works sometimes, but it depends on what situation.
Yes, I'm flexible like that.
Yeah.
So when I joined the military, I basically told the person who hands out jobs, I told him word for word, I said, I want a job that guys don't think girls can do.
Oh.
So he gave me a few options, and I chose the job that I wanted, and I got exactly what I asked for. And then
wow. Can I ask you this? So that your childhood transition to when you went to the military, and you specifically wanted any position that a girl wouldn't typically do. What was that about for you? Let's get into that. That's telling me something.
It was about proving myself. My whole childhood was about proving myself.
Okay.
So
all right.
that was my mindset. I went out for football when I was in high school. I ran track. I was faster than a lot of the guys on my block, in the neighborhood, at my school, so on and so forth. So that was my mentality, was that masculine energy was kind of at the forefront of my mind. Tell me what I can do, and I'm going to show you how to get it done. That was my thing. And it's still kind of who I am.
Has it worked for you?
It's worked, but it was rough. It worked, but it wasn't easy, I'll tell you that.
I'm asking that for a very interesting reason, because we have our personality traits.
Yeah.
And we accept ourselves, but I have to ask myself on my journey as I navigate, what parts really work for me though, and what parts are just old habits. So it worked for you in that period of time. So cool.
Yes, it did. I wouldn't trade it for anything, because I feel like in order to love myself, I have to love the storms and the sunshine that helped get me here. So when I tell people that I have an attitude of gratitude, that is in its totality. I would never say thank you for molesting me. However, I survived. you didn't take me down. I'm still here. Now what?
Now
With your
what?
miserable ass.
So
You
tell me,
understand what I'm saying?
what inspired you to get involved with the Navy?
Oh God. I was
How did
I
that?
was
Yeah.
yeah. I was in a program in high school called the Junior ROTC, which is basically a program that teaches young civilian children about military etiquette and how to wear uniforms and follow orders and also give orders and things like that. So I was in that program and I was on the track to be a Marine. Unfortunately, a few of the young ladies who were in the delayed entry program along with me had gone to boot camp before me. And for whatever reason, they came home different. I can't
Wow.
pinpoint the difference, but it made me nervous. And it also made my recruiter nervous. So what he did
Wow.
was he told me, he said, I don't know what is going on, but I don't like what I'm seeing. And I'm going to walk you across this hallway and we're going to see some things. We're going to try something else out. And I'll always
Wow.
be grateful to him for that, because to this day, I think that they suffered something psychologically or sexually traumatizing that changed who they were as a person when they came home from boot camp. I can't confirm it, but I know who my friends were before they left, and I know who those chicks were that came back, and they weren't the same. So there you have it.
Did you experience or witness any bizarre or unkind treatment whilst you were there?
In the Navy?
Mm.
Yeah. There's tons of, there's mishaps and there's mistreatment going on all over the world. I unfortunately was a victim to certain discriminations and hazings and things of that nature, but it's not something that is breaking news. Let's just put it like that.
So
So
did
that's why
did your friends come back traumatized for some reason?
I believe they did. They were not this, as a veteran, speaking from my experience of going to boot camp and coming home, I can tell the difference of who I was before I left to go to the Navy and who I was when I graduated boot camp. They weren't anywhere close to how I came home. And I didn't like it. It made me scared. I didn't understand what was going on. Why it was all, have you ever seen it's like they were in a trance or something. I don't really know how to explain it.
I think I know what that looks like. So did you go to the Navy for an escape? I'm trying to work out why you to go in the first place.
I went because I was watching Saddam Hussein make a speech, spewing his rhetoric as he did back then. And it was one of those hate-filled speeches about how all Americans needed to die. Now, what I didn't tell you is while I grew up a tomboy, I was bullied. And when I heard him speak about all Americans dying, the only thing that I could think of is that he is a bully and the fuck you will hurt my family. It's not going to happen. And I was gone within months. I was gone within months because I had been dragging my feet. I was getting scared because the reality was coming closer to me. You know what I'm saying? Like the reality of I'm about to leave my family to go and be a Navy sailor was becoming a reality, and I got scared. But when I saw that speech,
when you entered the Navy, what was your age?
I was 17.
Oh,
no, I was 18. Yeah, 18.
Wow.
Yeah, 18.
And how many years did you spend there?
22 years.
Wow. That's a massive achievement. 22 years.
Yep, I did it. I'm proud of it too.
Wow. Okay, listen, let's get into that a little bit. How did that experience for that duration of time, what effects has it had on you? And positive, negative? Let's get into that a little bit. Like how did it help you to transition into womanhood? Like what were the effects?
Into womanhood, I will say I had countless big sisters. I was raised in the Navy by old school Navy, and what I mean by that are there were sailors who had been in the Navy for at least 4 years or more than I was. So when I came into the Navy, I had older big sisters who took me under their wing, and they taught me things like when you get off of work on Monday, I had big sisters that would start ironing their uniform for the next day, and they taught me how to party hard and work hard. So they taught me how to keep my uniform squared away. They taught me what's going to happen if I don't follow the rules. They taught me how to arch my eyebrows, how to be all on top of my personal feminine hygiene. They taught me about sisterhood and picking out, knowing who is a friend, who isn't a friend, because everybody that wears the same uniform as you does not hold the same ideals as you. Just like people say, all skin folk ain't kin folk. It's the same thing in the military. Just because we serve under the same guidelines or rules, if you will, it doesn't mean everybody's going to follow those. So they taught me a lot of things about that.
Wow.
And I'll always appreciate that, because I was the oldest girl, so I didn't have a big sister, you know. So they taught me a lot about responsibility. They didn't teach me a lot about self-love, but I look back on it, and I guess I could have learned a little bit more, but I was hot-headed and trying to be in these streets and chasing nappy-headed boys and, you know, trying to turn up and, well, party. So,
but you know, it sounds like that you really embarked upon many kind souls on that journey who took you under their wing, and you're really fortunate for that.
Yeah, I am. I'm a very blessed woman, very blessed. I love and am grateful to everyone, even the people that didn't root for me, even the people that ain't on my team. I appreciate you, because you still help me. You know what I'm saying? Because when you tell me what I can't do, I'm gonna show you how it's gonna be done. Period. So
I love it.
The haters, the people that's on my team, the people that ain't on the team, the people on the bench, the coach. I'm grateful for everybody. It's just a different type of gratefulness. That's all.
Absolutely. So when it was time to leave and you knew that you was going back to life, and what I mean by that is sometimes when we are away from home environments, the blocking out and the transitioning and moving forward seems very easy, okay? And this can relate to many different people in transition, whatever you've been through as a young person, for better or worse. When you leave, you can create your own world. But once you return back to that neighborhood or family, there comes those feelings potentially again, okay? And we can be adults, but sometimes you go back into that young person self, whether it's the abused person, whether it's that inconfident child. When you knew you were coming home, did you get any residue of, okay, I'm going back home, and what that was like for you? Or had you outgrown all of those feelings by that point?
No, I came home. My mother's health wasn't doing so good, so that was my primary concern, was to be there to try to care for her and to let my baby sister, who had cared for her while I was in the military, have a life. So in another sense, whatever I was feeling didn't really matter, because my focus was improving the quality of life for my sister and my mom. That was it.
But let me ask
my daughter at the time. So.
Okay, let me ask you this. I hear you saying that based on the motive and your responsibility and the consideration for your mom and your sister, you say, what I felt wasn't really an option because of what you knew you had to do. But I'd like you to take a moment into the feeling and sit with the feeling, because before we decide that it's not important, there had to have been a thought. And you know, thoughts turn into feelings, feelings into action. So what was the feelings that you chose to surpass before you said, okay, that's that, but I've got to do this? What was it?
So, well, the feeling, well, at the time when I came home, I was married. So my choice was to be with my mom. She wasn't trying to leave where she lived. So my goal was to live there. Unfortunately, my husband and I at the time couldn't agree on anything. So he got a place separate and I stayed with my mom. And I guess to say that my feelings didn't matter, I don't mean that they weren't important. They are important, but I had become very good at compartmentalizing. When you're in the military,
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Not that it wasn't important, but what was the feeling that you put away? That's what I would like us to explore just for a moment.
Yeah, so my compartments, if you will, let's say my mother was here, my sister was here, me being inconvenienced was back here, because then you got bills and credit, and so it's there, but that's not the first thing I'm reaching for. I'm trying to improve the quality of life of them. So I eventually get around to myself, but I didn't come first, because I didn't feel like I had the right to come first, because my sister had put her life on hold, so to speak, to take care of my mom, and now I was in a position to do that and allow her to live her life. So I felt like that was easy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Did you ever see any of the individuals that caused that effect on your life as a young girl? Did you ever see any of them ever again once you returned back home to see your mom?
My brother and my cousin, yes. I never saw my mother's boyfriend at the time. I never saw him again. And I never saw my female cousin. I never saw her best friend again. But I saw my cousin and I saw my brother.
And
I never blamed my brother because he was just as much a victim as I was. So I never blamed my brother because he was under the same threat of violence that I was. It wasn't like he was a willing participant in the molestation. He was forced to do it. So my brother was never my enemy in that sense.
That's
although
right.
we never talked about it.
That's
but
right.
My cousin, yeah.
And you've never spoken about it to this day to your brother?
No, my brother's dead now. So, but no, before he died, we never talked about it.
Did you?
He had enough going on.
He ended up doing what? Sorry?
I said he had enough going on. I didn't want to bring this up.
But it seems like you weren't angry with him anyway, as you say. So he went in peace.
No.
And you're at peace with that. So in regards to your cousin, did you ever see him again when you returned back from the Navy?
I don't. I saw him. Yeah, I've seen him since I've not when I came in from the Navy, because he moved away. So he doesn't live here in the city that I live in. He don't live in Chicago anymore. He moved away. But he used to come home for visits and things like that, for holiday parties and stuff, family get-togethers. So I've seen him over the years after I confronted him about what happened. But once, like I said, I don't believe in that fake forgiveness. I'm either going to forgive you or I'm not. And I don't believe in not forgiving, because what you're not going to do is be wait in here or in here. I ain't got time. So I'm either going to forgive it and move on with my life, because I don't want to have hate taking up space, especially when they ain't paying rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now.
Free lodgers. But let me ask you this, Claudette, because you are an astoundingly self-motivated woman, and I'm so resonating with how you see life, to be honest, and how you deal with it in some ways. But I'd like to ask you this. As you know, I think it's quite easy to motivate our minds to do what we think is right. Do you understand that sentence? Do what is right. But yes, on the other side of our existence, if you don't mind sharing with me, what would the conversation sound like if you had a conversation with your cousin? What would that have sounded like?
Without the forgiveness?
With or without, whichever you want. I'd like to because what that's about is, and you don't have to go, because sometimes people want to go into it and it releases, or sometimes people don't. So I'm giving you the option to either go in it or not. But if you choose to, yeah, if you want to go into it, let's get a bit therapeutic just for a moment, because
I think that if I can say this with certainty, had I not been in the military, I would have called my brothers and they would have fucked him up, flat out. And I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have gave one iota of a drop. I wouldn't have cried. I wouldn't have felt at all. But when I made that commitment, it wasn't just to my country. It wasn't just to the United States Navy. It wasn't just to my command. It was to my family, to myself. So with that commitment that I took, I knew that certain things I couldn't do. So with that came that sense of forgiveness. And then I didn't feel a sense, I don't know how to explain. Like, it pissed me off when I saw my daughter in his arms, but I didn't want to cause him any harm. But I think, because I'm not going to say I was a hood chick, street chick, but don't get it twisted. I know what I'm doing. Had I not been in the Navy, I know it would have gone different, because I was a hothead and I kind of got simmered a little bit from being in the military. I came in steaming, but I learned some things about myself, and I had to change the way that I viewed the world and looked at people and dealt with my problems, because if every problem looks like a nail, then I'm just hammering around. I need some screwdrivers. I need some socket wrenches. You know what I'm saying? I need a mallet. I need an impact driver. I need a multitude of tools in my toolbox so that I can deal with each problem as it appears to me appropriately. Now, whooping his ass would have been a problem. I don't think that I would have had a problem with that if I wasn't in the Navy. I'm pretty sure he would his ass for it. So
within yourself now then, do you feel like you've surpassed the journey, or is there a conversation inside of you that could still be had with any of these individuals that still exist? And let me tell you why I'm saying that before you answer. Sometimes, if not often, we do force ourselves for the right reasons, yeah, to say, I need to forgive, I need to work on myself, I need to confront what the emotions are and what the trauma was, and it's the right thing to do this, and it's the right thing on paper to do that. Do you see where I'm going with the right thing? And I know what it's, I mean, the right thing, we love that. But here's the thing. With all those right notions that we motivate ourselves to do, we often do not allow ourselves to actually think about what the pain body is saying, though, in the midst of it all. Do you understand? I'm not saying we should dwell there forever. What I'm saying is it's a genuinity between ourself and our energy body or our pain body or our spirit self that says, you know, this is how I feel. I cried for help. I wasn't heard. Could this be the reason why I latch onto men for affection, or the reason why I'm frigid or promiscuous? Or there's so many things and facets that come with trauma. Yeah, that transitions to our children, how we communicate with them. You know, are we friendly with people? Do we lack trust now? All of these bows and ties are often extensions of the journey. So what I've chosen to do in different areas is have a conversation with the truth, though, even though I'm doing the right thing on the left or the right. Let's go right. Yeah? Yes. And that inside may mean, you know what? If I ever see you and you say anything to me, I'm going to cut your ass. Oh, no, but the right thing is, oh, I'm spiritual. I shouldn't say that. It's about forgiveness. And I'm about love. And do you see where I'm going? Yeah. Or it could be, because the truth is, you know, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we should live in that pain body, but it's more like,
but visit it.
Having a genuine conversation though before. And that's sometimes we've nurtured to move on before having that real conversation with ourselves. Like what we're moving on from is what we need to understand.
That's part of this.
Let's get into that. Let's get into that part.
That's part of what I had to do for myself. Now, as far as if I was to run into my mother's boyfriend at the time, or the girl that did what she did to me, if I was to run into them, if I had any words that I wanted to impart on them, it would be for their healing only, because I'm good.
Okay, so we've now spoken about your return back from the Navy. We've spoken about you having the consideration and companionship for your sister and going to visit your mother. We've spoken about, you know, your husband and yourself deciding to have a you know, mutual separation in the house at the time so you stayed with mom. And now I'd like to go on to like what happened from there onwards.
I came home 10 years ago, and I retired 3 years after I came home. So 2013, I was retired after 22 years in the Navy. And then I started my civilian life and being my mom's full-time primary caregiver. By then, my husband at the time had left. He had had enough. I'm a lot. Anyway,
so am I. That's their problem. Carry on.
So I was my mom's full-time primary caregiver, along with my sister helping out. But by then she had a child of her own, and she was living her life and everything. So that was basically that. I was finishing up with school because I had started school the year that I retired. So I was going to school and doing that, taking care of my mom, and everything was good, I thought. And what I think, looking back, what happened was, I was so busy in my role as my mom's primary caregiver, and then still participating in training and things like that with the Navy. I don't know if the thoughts were there and I stuffed them. I don't think I did, or they just weren't there. You know what I mean? But I think that once my mind really had time to just calm down, because I was a mover and a shaker in the Navy. I was always doing this, doing that, whatever, had a full schedule. Once my mind realized you ain't got no job no more, now all these other thoughts from way down here start creeping back. That's when the reoccurring thoughts would come.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because it happened all my life, I just dismissed it as this is what always happens, so whatever. And little did I know it was because I was supposed to write a book. Because if I haven't told you already, the thoughts are gone. I don't have those thoughts anymore. So I'm pretty confident that I was destined to be a writer. It just took
Me too.
It just took a lot to get it out.
So tell me, yes, okay, you spoke about speaking to Lee, and Lee encouraging you as your mentor and friend to write your story. And I guess a lot of us have a story to tell as well, which is why we go into writing or some kind of inspiration in the course of our lives. So you began, what was that final thought that made you feel pen to paper, it's time? What was that? What was that last push?
I don't know.
I mean, was it from here or was it from here? What urged you? What was that final urge to say, I'm going to write this book, I'm going to tell my story?
Leon,
Leon, yes, responsible for it all, and we love you.
But let me tell you something. I got a bunch of mentors, but ain't nothing like Leon Walker. When I tell you that, please believe it. I believe it. I do. Baby, when he believe in your ass, you can't shake him. You can't. He ain't gonna let go.
We believe in my ass. I want to shake him anyway.
Yeah, we have a very similar style. When he sees promise in you, he's not gonna let you. He's not gonna let you go. So yeah, he told me that I needed to write it, and I was telling him my progress about writing things down and typing things on the computer. And what basically happened from computer to print, publishing, and all that stuff, it becoming an actual book, was I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And when I thought I was done, I just chilled. And if more thoughts came to me, I would write those too. But I want to say I gave it about a month. Maybe, yeah, it might have been a month. And nothing else came to me. So I felt that I had said all that there was to say.
Right.
And that's when the process began, looking for a publisher, getting an editor, book cover, things of that nature, and bringing it to fruition. Because at that point, it was just
show us this amazing book. Let's see it.
This is my book.
Okay. This is your story of tough love, and my copy's on its way. Yay!
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I have to get broken. I have by Leon Walker, and Tough Love, and I'm gonna have a nice collection of all the big people I've met who write. It's gonna be amazing. I'm honored. So you're not self-published then?
No.
Okay, you have a publisher. That's amazing. And how has that journey of saying I'm an author, how does that feel about a genuine story about your life? How does that feel when you've got it in print? How does that make you feel, the accomplishment?
Weird. When the process of when my publisher was in the process of sending me my proof, I don't know how to explain it. It's not like in love butterflies. It's not like I want to get the job, I'm about to have the interview butterflies. I don't know how to describe it, but there was a feeling of putting a snapshot of my life in the public to be critiqued, to be ridiculed, to be laughed at, so on and so forth. So I had to struggle with that. And I was talking to my son about it, and he was like, "Mom, that's awesome. You wrote a book. You should be happy." I was like, "I'm happy, but I'm a little nervous too, because it's a difference between writing in a diary, basically, and putting that diary out into the public for everyone to read."
It's a big feeling, though, because when I know the feeling of first publication. I know how it feels. I've had that first publication. I know how it feels. It's almost like it's overwhelming. It's a personal achievement, isn't it?
Yes. And even doing this live, I'm a very animated, very transparent person. And I've been told previously for public speaking and things of that nature that basically who I am doesn't work, which gave me it gave me a little bit of I had a little bit of a fear and a little bit of phobia. But then once I decided I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks, that's when I got past that. But every time I have a live or something like this where where other people can see me, be me, I have to take a second to say, stop it. You either love yourself for who you are or you don't. You know what I'm saying? You either gonna take all of me or you ain't gonna get none of me. And once I get past that second, then I'm good. But I still have a second or so. It used to take longer, but now.
But do you remember when we had a bit of a brief talk yesterday, and the first thing I said to you was, I'm your co-pilot. We don't care what people think. And that's the first thing I said to you. And I said, that's why I'm creating this platform where we can just be. We're living in a world and a time where we are manipulated out of our own spirit and character. and beauty is all edited. And if you're not a certain way, you're not dope.
Yes.
And for me, it's important that I embrace and inject individualism. So I don't care whether it's your gender, your race, or whatever position. I said to you, if you want to do the live in your bed in your pajamas, let's do it. I mean, look,
Yeah.
you know, there's going to be days when you guys are going to see me in my onesie and my hair in buttons. You're going to be like, what's going on? I just go with my flow. I'm a free flower. That's it.
Yeah. And that was that's what resonated with me, and it made me feel so connected to you, because I have not met many women, unfortunately, who feel that way genuinely. Now, I've heard plenty of women say it or talk the talk, but I don't meet a lot of women who can walk the walk. And I literally walk in my purpose on purpose. And I wish a motherfucker would try to check me on who I am. It's not going to go well for you, boo-boo. Not going to go well. I am who I am, and I'm proud of where I come from. And I'm proud of where I might go, and I'm not going to let other people get in my way. So the more that I live in that confidence, that's what has shortened that time from me from public speaking. I remember sitting 30 minutes, sweating bullets, nervous, because I couldn't be what I was taught that I was supposed to be. It took me almost 45 minutes to build it up to go and talk publicly. And now I'm at the point where I look in the mirror, so, like, I want to say probably 20 to 30 seconds before I have to do something like this. And I'm like, check your attitude at the door, little girl. That fear, I'm going to need you to get rid of that. We good? All right, let's do this. And allow me
to share something with you, and thanks for sharing that. We all have our narrative, and again, what we see as enough. And I'm going to tell you, just so people can also know, because I'm transparent as well. And me sat here in this right here where I'm inviting you on this platform looks as though we're in different realms, but we're not. And let me explain that to you. There's different forms of public speaking, and this is one of them. Yeah. I have multiple purposes, and I know soul connectivity, which is this is what we're doing, is my greatest gift, is soul connectivity. I shy away from a lot of my callings because of my insecurities that I'm dealing with from childhood. Yeah? And no one said I couldn't. I was just that kid that needed extra loving hugs and kisses and just being told that you can do it. And I'm raised in a typical Caribbean family where laughter and good food is all you need. Yeah? Laughter, good food, electric, gas. But, typical Caribbean don't really do the overly kisses, hugs, and what do you want to be when you get older? I was just that one child who just needed that a little bit more. Yeah. And so I kind of always knew that I wanted to do certain things, which I'm still working on. But a friend of mine was like, you know what, this voice of yours, you need to do voiceovers and radio. You just need to, and then I kind of fell into the whole, but then when I first done radio, and I've only just kind of started that journey, I was in tears before going on. I'm spilling the tea right now, guys, because we're sharing, okay?
Yes.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't do this. I'm going to mess up. I'm dyslexic. I have so many narratives for what I am. And I'm even like, God, why do you give me all these talents and abilities? And I'm scared as hell. I don't have any courage to do any of the stuff. I mean, my role is so,
yes.
You don't know. My calling takes a lot in other areas of my life. It's a lot. So someone can say they're an engineer, they're a doctor, they're a surgeon. But when you are guided by spirit, it's a different kind of loyalty. No matter what you do, you're going to be back that you have to do what you need to do. Yeah, and I'm working on it. So I want you to know, in this moment, I'm just the woman on the other side of this, and we're in the same space. And all it is that I had a kick up the backside that said, if you're not going to do it in your 40s, I don't know when you're going to do it. Yeah? So I done the tears thing, like this. Yeah? And even pressing live before was like, no, maybe not. I'm literally, I'm talking about the over the top, And so what I started doing was, what I started doing on I have another page, Silver Ink 27, and it was initially a creative page, and then I started doing all these posts of me laying in bed having conversations anywhere I wanted to. What people didn't realize was I was my own life coach. I was training myself out of my narrative, and that's why I did it. You see, I'm all done up like this. I hardly ever was done up when I did that. That was the whole point. I stripped myself bare.
Yes.
So that I can be here truly in my nakedness of you. Really, I swear to you, this is my journey. So it looks like I'm all done up, but I needed to start where I wasn't. So if I was to take this all off, I would be comfortable getting the white, taking it all off, because I made sure, I'm talking about 2 bunches in a onesie on a live. I look totally different when I'm not jazzed up, but I had to do it so I can face what the insecurity is.
Yes.
You know? And I'm not totally over it. I'm just not interested in the voice anymore. It's so boring. It's like you're expired. It's expired. Like, are you still here already? Like,
get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share that with you, that it looks like so much, like, but I'm on the journey. This is, you know, and the fact that I'm like, right, radio's one thing, but here everything's live. I can't edit it. And that's why I do it, so that we get out of this perfection of I'm not enough. So now when I'm manifesting things, you know what I say when I'm going for a job or putting my energy out there? I say, universe or God, let it come where I'm just enough. I'm enough in this moment. I don't have to hide behind my isms or my dyslexia. Whatever it is, I'm accepted in this space as I progress. I'm bloody enough. Like, really?
For real. For real. I
You
totally
know,
understand that.
I just wanted to share that with you. Hope that's okay.
I so thank you for that. I really do.
Oh, I'm
really
no different to you. It just looks like I'm just dropped here out of a genie bottle and I'm ready. But girl, let me tell you, and now I'm so chilling. And that's why I created Free Flame Thoughts and said to people, come as you are. Where you are. If you're on the toilet, I don't care. Let's flow. Let's talk.
Yeah. That's why I'm
That's why I'm done.
I don't want to get dressed up or nothing. I mean, I do like with being all dolled up and stuff like that, but there's a beauty to me in just being me, just comfortable. Not that I'm not comfortable dressed up, but I spend good money on nice clothes. I don't want to be getting wine spilled all on it and messing it up. You got to get stain remover and shit. I can mess this shit up and I'm good.
But you know what? I mean, when I do these lives now, I do dress up, but it's not a lot of dressing up. It's just a little, I collect hats, so just a little pizzazz, but it is all, you know, all it is, you know, our own individual presentation. And maybe in another life, I won't be in the mood. I would literally do it in the mood I'm in. So we are enough. This is, you know, this is acknowledge that we're enough. And wherever we are at, we don't have to remain there, but we are progressing and it's okay.
Yes. Yes, more than okay. We are more than enough, and it is more than okay. And those that cannot accept that, then I'm not your cup of tea. So,
but you know what it is? You know what it is, sis? Sometimes we say that. And let me just sit with you for a minute. We always say if someone doesn't accept us, but here's the big secret. It's us that don't accept us.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it is us.
We always say it's something that I said to a sister just yesterday. I said, we always say that, but a lot of that is we don't accept us. So we can't demand anyone accepts us if we don't.
Yes.
So what we're talking about right here is acceptance of self, the self-sufficiency. We are enough.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a few more comments and I'm going to allow you to talk about where people can get your book.
Okay. Leon posted. Thanks. Leon, thank you so much for posting the link for my book. I really appreciate it.
Where are you?
Let me try and look at the comments too.
Yeah, come on, let's share it with me. Your friends on here. Okay, let me see.
God. Can you respond to her? Oh no.
I can. But just give them a shout out. Say whatever you want. They can hear you.
My sister Miraposia, she's on here. Thank you. That's right, sis. Go Navy. You better know.
So you have Stephanie where she says, I agree, you are perfect. Yeah. Just let them deal with it, basically.
Hey, Nancy. Page of reconnections. Hi.
That's my bestie. That's my bestie.
Aww, look at you supporting your best friend. That's awesome.
Always. He's always got me, and I got him. Hi, Vincent. And Miss Stephanie West is saying he's inspiring more than one, but he's amazing. That's for Lee. He is amazing. By the way, ladies, I think it's time that I have Lee live in London. You've had him for long enough, and he needs to come and inspire over here.
No,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no.
No, Lee, get on a plane, Lee. Okay, come to London. You are doing enough. Spread the inspiration in London, Lee. Yeah. This sister says, "Can you show it again, sis? I didn't catch it. I'd like to read it." So this is Tough Love, the book entitled Tough Love, and it's everywhere, right? Amazon,
Barnes and Noble. It's only on Amazon and Barnes and Noble right now. But I can send you a copy if you want, sis. It's all good.
So Nancy, did I call you Nancy? No, sorry. Pull that up. When did I read Nancy? Did I read something on Nancy on here? There's someone called Nancy on here.
Nancy's on the line too, so you might have.
Okay, I had it stuck in my brain. Okay. So, Claudette, I actually preempted doing that, calling the wrong name for a minute, but it's all good. So, Claudette, as we take it to a close, there's two things that we're going to share before I go. One is going to be your afterthoughts, but before we do the afterthoughts, is there anything else you'd like us to know about you and your journey?
No, I would just encourage anyone that has any type of issues, whether it be sexual assault, domestic violence, financial hardship, whatever the issue is in your life, I'm a firm believer that if you don't fix it, you can't. If you don't face it, you can't fix it. So putting things off does not necessarily make them better. Compartmentalization is there's a time and a place for compartmentalization, and some people it is critical for them to use it in their line of work or in their lifestyle, but don't use it as a crutch. If you can't be whole for yourself, you can't be whole in any other capacity. You're always going to be lacking. No matter how much you think you're on point, there's something that's going to be missing. So fix whatever it is that's broken, seek that healing for yourself, and then move forward and be fruitful in your life. And that's the one thing that I would like to impart to people. And thank you to everyone who joined us today. I really appreciate you listening to me babble on and on. But it was a beautiful opportunity for me to share some great energy with a beautiful, beautiful sister. I really, really appreciate it.
You're gonna come back though, girl, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. We're gonna
get yeah, you ain't getting rid of me.
Oh no, I'm gonna have you back. So before we go though, do you have any? I know you gave your last, maybe whatever you'd like to add. Is there any afterthoughts? As in, how do you feel that this soul connection went for you today? How was the journey of being on Free Flame Thoughts for you?
Oh my God, your platform has allowed me to share some great energy. I really love your energy. It felt genuine from the very first time we talked yesterday. Even before then, just the voice clips. I don't consider myself an expert on people, but I do consider myself somewhat knowledgeable about a genuine feel of a person. And you've been feeling that way to me from day one. And you continue to be that way. And to reach out to me and invite me to your platform, that's just a beautiful thing, because I believe that conversations like this happen far too often behind closed doors with not nearly a wide enough audience. So if our conversation today has been able to resonate with even one person, that means so much, because we need to understand that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. That is my firm belief.
Absolutely.
And I will never think anything different than that. And no matter what race, creed, color, we all are one. And sharing free flowing thoughts is a beautiful thing, because being guarded helps no one. You help no one when you're guarded like that. Most importantly,
thank you so much for taking me on a journey with you today. I am honored. I really do. You are enough. You are beautiful, and you are truly divine. And own that.
Yes,
own that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you again soon. So stay on the line for a few more minutes if you like. I'm going to read through your friends' comments. Lee, thank you for the triple connection between Claudette and myself and one other guest I'm going to be having on the show at some point soon. We appreciate you, Lee. And thank you to everybody else that participated. Let me look at your comments, because once I press end, all the comments disappears, unfortunately. So let me just read it before I go. Stay with me, stay with me. Where are we? Yes, you're going to come to London. Your sister's on it.
Leah ain't gonna leave us.
How do I say this? Apusia? How do I pronounce your friend's name? I don't know how to pronounce this.
Mariposia?
That's the one. She says, oh, God, yes, I'll pay for it, sis. I would love to have a read of your book. That's amazing. And Miss Stephanie West, thank you for your participation also. Your friend also goes on to say, that's true. Addressing what is wrong is in our lives can be hard, but to grow, we must face it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, ladies. Great energy. We appreciate you too.
Thank you,
Yeah. Miss Stephanie West says, thank you so much for empowering so many and being such an incredible example. And I want to say to you guys that are on here, my inbox is open. If you guys ever want to come and have a chit chat with Silver, just feel free. Let me tell you what I do, just so you know, in general, is, as you heard, it's free flame thoughts. You can come with your own topics if you like, and I will vibe with you. I'm so liberal. It doesn't matter what you're going to talk about. As long as I can add value to what you want to talk about, I'm good. So any topic goes as long as it flows. But if you just want to have a chin vibe, you're not sure about topics, just inbox me. We'll come up with something. Talking's good, right? So on that note, you guys have a beautiful evening. I'll see you soon.